Hi, I'm Willie. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every one of you, and I am especially excited about what we're going to talk about in this video. So, you already know how I feel about the Grandstream product line, the Grandstream UCM series of PBXs. I think they're the best PBX for the value out there. But they went and they made it better. And you're asking yourself, how could they have made it better? Well, we have a full line of on-prem appliances that we can choose from no FXO and FXS ports up to, 8 FXO and FXS ports in a box. We have the audio only, so we get from very inexpensive, we get a little bit more expensive. Then they listened and people were saying we want a cloud version of the PBX. So what did Grandstream do? They created a cloud UCM and you can resell it, and there's all kinds of advantages to that. Then we have been asking them for years, can we get a UCM that we can host on our own hardware? And guess what? I got an email today that we are now in the beta testing stage of what they are calling the SoftwareUCM. So they've hit the trifecta for deployments here. And I am super excited about this. We're going to walk through this together because I literally just got the email around 4 p.m. and I just saw it a little bit ago. I'm almost speechless. I'm filming this without much preparation. So let's get right over to it. So here is the landing page, and I'm going to leave these down in the description below. So this is an official open beta. We can talk about it. We can go over to Grandstream's forum and sign up and report bugs and things like that. So right here it tells you the SoftwareUCM beta test is open to all. There is no application or selection process. So if you sign up for this, as long as you put your email address in correctly, they're going to send you a license key to try this. All you have to do is follow the instructions. 1, 2, 3. Look at this. They got big numbers. It's super duper easy. Beta testing is going to run from January 17th through mid-February. I just found out about it today. So I don't know how many other people already knew about it. Doesn't matter. We've got until the middle of February to talk about this. So what we're going to do is we're going to download it. So I'm going to click and it's going to download this ISO. And the ISO is about 2.1 gigs. So we're going to let that download while we talk about the rest of this. Then what we're going to do is we're going to register for the SoftwareUCM trial license. And that link is pulled up right here. So I'm going to fill this out. And if you don't know your Grandstream distributor or reseller, feel free to put Willie Howe Technology in there, and then they'll know that you saw this video. I won't get any money or any credit from this. We don't actually resell the hardware. We hook you up with another reseller, and then the only way we make money in this game is if you use us for consulting. I don't even make money off this video. So fill this out, and they're going to email you a license key. Then you're going to spin this up. You're either going to install it on bare metal or you're going to install it in a hypervisor. So you've got to figure out what you're going to do there. So there is some technical documentation that we're probably going to need to look at the setup instructions and the login. Let's see if this goes to the same place. So we'll click here. This will bring up the SoftwareUCM. I wonder if there's a hardware requirements page. It's running on Alma Linux. Let's see here. I didn't know that until right now. But I'm not seeing specifically the hardware requirements. Oh, look at this. Here's something else that the SoftwareUCM has. It has multi-tenant mode. So from one installation, you're going to be able to have multiple tenants, or in my mind, and we're going to find out, you're going to be able to have multiple UCMs running underneath this, which is awesome. So you can go from single tenant to multi-tenant. You can create a new instance. What I'm not seeing is specific hardware requirements here. User manual, system management guide. They've got all the things, right? Installation guide for VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, instant management guide. This is where we were at. So anyway, let's see if it says anything about the hardware. Doesn't. It's got to be here. It's got to be here somewhere. Specifications and server requirements. So you're going to be able to have up to 5,000 extensions, 1,000 concurrent calls, simultaneous calls, depending on the license level that you purchase. I don't know the pricing yet. I'm assuming that's going to come out soon. We'll have a video on that as soon as we get to that. So there's going to be an online activation for virtual machines, physical machines, and offline activation will only work for a physical machine. I'm assuming that they might be tying this to a MAC address or some sort of hardware. Recommended server environment is x86 based hardware, server, or PC. Supports hypervisors. System requirements. Needs to be a 64-bit processor. The CPU resources used by each UCM instance are exclusive. SoftwareUCM requires a minimum of 2 gigs of memory. So if we spin this up in a VM that has 4 gigs, we should be fine. And then storage, we need at least 30 gigs for the base UCM installation. And then it tells you here, 1 minute of recorded audio is a 1 megabyte. Video recording 1 hour is 500 megabytes. And logging, multiple logs on a busy system up to 300 meg. So that you can size your hardware and your VM appropriately. At least 1 gig LAN connection, depending on the number of calls and network applications. And if you're going to have more than 3,000 extensions, you need 10 gigabit. And then right here, it tells us which VM software they are supporting this on. And it's validated for use with VMware Workstation, Hyper-V, KVM, and VirtualBox. I'm sure it will run on other platforms, but it doesn't appear that those are validated here. All right, a device requires at least 1 core, 1 processor core, 2 gigs of memory, 20 gigs of storage. And then down here, it tells us, based on how big your deployment is going to be, what the hardware should be. So if we're going to do 51 to 100 extensions and 1 to 20 calls, you need an Intel i5 Gen 8 or equivalent, 2 CPU threads, 2 gigs of memory. With no records, you need 30 gig. And then if you have records, they tell you how to size it appropriately down here. They really need to do this, because what's going to happen is we're going to have all kinds of people that are going to buy this, and they're going to put it on underpowered hardware, and then they're going to have problems. And you can see as you move up in extensions and calls that the CPU recommendations go up. So your next level CPU is going to be an i7 Gen 8 or equivalent. And then once you hit 401 to 5,000 extensions and 81 to 1,000 simultaneous calls, they want you to have an Intel Xeon E5 version 4 or equivalent with this many threads, minimum of 8 gigs of RAM, all the way up to 32. And you can see everything scales on this. So you should definitely try this if you're interested. Beat it up. And what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to pause this video. I'm going to fill out my form here, put all my information in here. I'm going to get my license back, and then we're going to spin this up in VirtualBox. I'll be right back. All right, so you can see I put in all of my information, and they are going to email me my free trial package application information. So let me get that pulled up. All right, so they sent me this email. It has an attached license file that I'm going to use for this. It tells me it's 30 days trial packaging, and you can see here is it has the MAC address. I'm pretty sure starting with C2, that's probably the MAC address of the virtual PBX. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to get this installation spun up. We're going to go through it together. Stay tuned. All right, so I've got my Oracle VirtualBox up here. We're going to do a new machine, and we're going to call this, we're just going to call it Lab Virt UCM. No reason to get crazy with it. And this is going to be Linux, and it's not, I don't know if they have Alma on here. We're just going to put other Linux. other 64-bit. It is not going to be an unattended installation because I didn't choose the ISO yet. Hardware, we're going to go with 4096, which is 4 gigs of RAM. We're going to give it we'll give it 2 CPUs. And then we are going to create a 30 gig drive here. And we're going to click finish. And then I'm going to edit this because I want to do a few things. So first of all, on the network, I don't want it to be NATed. I want it to be bridged so that I can get to it from anywhere. And then I have to come into storage and I have to load the ISO. So I'm going to do that real quick and then we're going to fire this up and see what happens. All right, so I've got my SoftwareUCM beta ISO loaded. We're going to click OK here. And we are going to go ahead and hit start. And we're going to let this come up and we're going to see what happens. Starting the box. And it's tiny at the moment. So install SoftwareUCM. So we're just going to hit enter on that. And now it's going to start the installation. I'm going to hit right control there. I need my screen to be just a little bigger and get rid of this so y'all can see what's happening. So if you've ever loaded Linux before, this is all going to look very, very familiar to you. So we'll see if they've done anything. I mean, they obviously did the, you know, the special install at the beginning to kind of get your attention. But this is running through the installation. Like I said, the network is bridged, so it's going to pick up a 192.168.66 IP address. And I'm happy that they've already got all of the documentation out there so that as people are trying this, you can go refer to that documentation. I mean, this is huge in terms of scalability, right? Previously with the UCM 6300 series, we can take multiple UCMs and we can cluster them and use the resources from other UCMs to create a large system. This allows us to scale it, you know, as small or as big as we want. I mean, I'm assuming that if you had something like a Zima board or a single board machine that had enough memory and it met the requirements for what you're trying to do, I'm assuming we could get it to install on something like this. We could definitely throw this on a Protectly. Now, I like the hardware UCMs because they come with the warranty. I can get the FXO, FXS ports, you know, built into it. It's obviously tuned. You know, the software that's running on those UCMs, it's tuned specifically for that hardware. This, if you're running in a virtual environment, is going to run pretty well. Based on the physical hardware you have, you may have a different experience. And I expect there's going to be a lot of experiences. I expect that there's going to be a lot of support questions about this because it's new and it's everybody should try this, right? So if you've ever wanted a UCM and you've wanted it on-prem and you didn't want to buy it, you just wanted to try it out, well, you've got this demo window to now try this. And you can see the installer is doing its thing here. And we're already at installing the bootloader, and it is performing post-installation setup tasks. I guess the only other thing that I need to do is I've got to flip back to the documentation because I have to see what the default username and password is. I'm going to pause this real quick and go pull that documentation up. And see, here's their documentation. So we're going to enter the machine. And when we list the soft UCMs, then it's going to tell us the IP address. It's going to give us the username and password. And I need to eject this ISO and reboot. Let's see here. Optical drives. Remove disk. And then we're going to reset this. And we're going to see what happens here. So it's booting. Always a good sign when your distribution boots properly. Yeah, and you're literally, I've not done this before. You are literally doing this with me for the first time right here. And we're probably going to run this in like a standalone mode. Let's look at some of the documentation. So you can switch over to the multi mode. Okay, so the one thing that we need to do is we need to figure out what the login is for Alma here. Let's see here. Beta test. Let's see. User. How about console guide? I wonder if it's there. Login. Login with support, and we'll have to set a password at the beginning. All right, so let's do this. So we're going to log in as support, and we're going to set the password. And now we have this main screen. Let's see here. Let's see here. Just trying to make this a little bigger so y'all can see it. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to SoftwareUCM maintenance. We're going to list the UCMs, and it looks like there is already one, and it's called UCM 1. And there is the IP address and then the password. So it is, I'm just taking a quick note here, so that is 66.209.80.89 admin and soft UCM at admin. And it'll probably have us change that. So let me get this pulled up in the browser. All right, so here we go here. We're going to go to advanced. We're going to accept the risk. Obviously, we don't have a cert installed, and boy, this looks familiar. So we're going to put admin in there, and we're going to put soft UCM at admin. We do not want to do this. Okay, so soft UCM service plan activation. We could do it online or offline. We're going to do it online, and here it says obtain a license file from an equipment agent / reseller or apply for a free trial. Upload the license file. We're going to upload my license file real quick. Stand by. All right, so I activated that, and you can see I've got 50 extensions, 24 concurrent calls. I am on a trial package. It expires February 21st, and that is indeed the MAC address. It is now going to go ahead and redirect me to the Wizard. Now, I don't have a way. Do I have a way to skip the Wizard? Doesn't look like I have a way to skip the Wizard. Okay, so it wants a new username. Well, I wonder if I can just log out of this and log back in. Doesn't look like it. So good for them for forcing some change so that everybody's not using admin out there. Okay, here under security settings, we can choose what we want to encrypt. We're going to encrypt everything. Encrypt all the things. Network settings, DHCP right now. If we were deploying this, we would put a static IP address on it. We are English. I don't care about my time zone right now. Extensions, we're going to do 5 extensions starting at extension 1000, and it shows you it will create 1000 through 1004. We're going to go next. Oh, now we have a skip. So we didn't have that in the beginning. So we must be forcing the username and password to change. So we're going to go ahead and save that. We're going to save and reboot. Now it says it's going to take 2 minutes. Let's see what's going on under the hood here. Nothing. So let's look at the resource. So we're using 12.24% of our CPU. We're using 100 megs of memory, and we're only using 1.2 gigs out of our 19 gigs. So it says, please wait 2 minutes. I don't know. Let's see what happens if we refresh. I don't want the setup wizard. We already did that. It didn't take 2 minutes. I think that is their standard language that they're used to with the UCM. So boom, we get in here. And did you see how fast that was? That was super fast. We get our emergency call pop up here letting us know that that's not done yet. But go back to system status. Look at this with all of our storage that we've got going on here. SoftwareUCM service over here. Remote connect. So you can use remote connect with this. So that's fantastic that they didn't skip out on that. Here's more PBX status stuff here. This is amazing. Maybe I could have logged out as admin and I didn't see it. I'm so excited about this. I'm sure there's something that I'm going to miss. Coming in here to our network, we can add remarks in there. Don't touch my system. Active calls, network status. So this all looks the same. Extensions, email notifications, extension groups, VoIP trunks, web RTC trunks, outbound routes, inbound routes. This is all a UCM running on our hardware. We just don't have FXO, FXS ports. But if we do need those, we can still run this on our own platform and use a gateway from Grandstream. You could use any gateway, really, that's SIP enabled, but be easier to use Grandstream. Paging, intercom, call queue, speed dial. This thing is flying. Here's all of our feature codes, our parking lot, all of our advanced call features, time condition routing. Here's our messaging, and they have the live chat also built into this. That's awesome. PBX settings, general settings. This thing is fast too. And it should be. I don't think that here's our 0 config. Let's see if it can auto discover the other devices on my network. So we'll see what happens. We get this little percentage thing going on here. And it looks like it found one Grandstream device. Doesn't have the the model here, but that is a GCC. That is at the head end of the network. So this thing is going to continue to run. Yeah, it's starting to find all kinds of Grandstream devices on the network. We can go to other things. We've got all the user management. We can do our custom permissions. I'm really not seeing anything here. So we can upgrade the firmware here. Now, I don't know, and I'm sure it's in the documentation, how they're going to release firmware upgrades for this. It'll definitely be interesting to see that. Here's our license management. Same system cleanup, network troubleshooter, record meeting for diagnosis. Love it. Got our CDR, we've got remote connect, we've got all of our integrations down here, Google services, the whole shooting match. So this is it. I'm super excited about this. I wanted to get this video out there so that you can get your hands on this, test it. It is another avenue to deploy, like I said, in my opinion, the best PBX that's out there. And now it's multi-tenant, right? So if you own a building and there's 6 companies, you can now use this on one machine and provide PBXs. And you don't necessarily want to become the phone company. That's not what I'm saying. But you could potentially have multiple companies on the same UCM. And you could also do this if you're a service provider. So if I wanted to, I could build a box specifically for this, and I could start selling UCMs, right? My own cloud-based UCMs. This is fantastic. I don't know about you. I'm super excited about this. We got it up and going. We're going to play with it here. I'm actually going to take the VM that's running on my machine and I'm going to move it to a hypervisor that can be on all the time so that my folks can get in and out of there and play around with this, hopefully deploy it on their own hardware and things like that. If you've got questions about this, start compiling the questions down below and I'll answer them. If I don't have answers, I will get answers. This is I keep looking at the screen. This is a game changer. We have so many options and so many ways to deploy Grandstream PBXs now. There's really no excuse to use any other PBX. I can't think of any reason myself. I'm sure that there's compelling arguments that could be made, but the one argument that I don't think anyone can win is that for the features to price ratio and how easy these are to use after they're deployed properly, nobody touches Grandstream in this arena. The only thing that I think that Grandstream needs to have now is we need to take that 0 config and we need to be able to auto configure other manufacturers' phones. I don't know if they're ready to throw that gauntlet yet. You know, they work with so many voice over IP manufacturers that I think they're walking a line, right? They don't want to upset too many people. But come on, Grandstream, let's deploy other phones besides Grandstream, because not everybody buys the Grandstream handsets when we deploy the systems. It's their money, right? And that's what they want to do. But help us make it easier. All right, go out, get your SoftwareUCM, beat the crap out of it, turn in bug reports. Let's get this thing going. Leave your comments and questions down below. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe, comment, and share. Follow me on Twitter and TikTok. Those links are down below, along with affiliate links, a Patreon link. And if you need IT consulting from voice over IP in its many forms that it now exists, if it's security, wired or wireless networking, storage, camera systems, head on over to williehowe.com, fill out the contact page that's there on the front, fill out the contact form that's on the front page, and somebody will be in touch with you as soon as possible. If you want to talk about this software UCM, go over to community.williehowe.com and sign up. Remember, though, if you're in the beta, sign up for the Grandstream forum and leave your beta information there. You can do it there. Then you can come over and talk to us. We'd love to have that information too. So I'm jazzed about this. So once again, I'm Willie. I hope you go get your hands on this SoftwareUCM. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.